FM and 1180 AM. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Bringing you the best in Blount County sports since 1978. Featuring the Greenfield Gunner, Mike Edwards, former Maryville Scott, Donnie Moore, and from the Daily Times, Marcus Fitzsimmons.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, and I'm here at the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville, along with longtime sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons, Maryville Times sports reporter Caleb Jarreau, and ex-SportsPage legend Troy Provost Heron. And this is the GoTeez SportsPage. High school football playoff action is in full swing, and we're going to the whistle blows. And now let's set today's lineup card. I'll fill in for Donnie Moore, and we'll report on the latest high school football scores involving Blount County teams, and we'll follow up with some national sports stories. Marcus Fitzsimmons and Caleb Jarreau will be on board to update us on what's happening in local high school sports. Tennessee high school football playoffs will be in the discussion. We'll pick up the pieces from the Vols' loss to Oklahoma. Our panel will look at today's SEC football schedule along with some of the top national contests from across the country. We'll hit on some of the latest UT sports news. The letter rip segment is set to go, so let's break the huddle and dive right in. Good morning, everybody, and good to see you. Huh?
Well, morning, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't get washed away.
Boy, I tell you what, yeah. Yeah, and it's going to get downright Indiana weather here. I guess they're talking about maybe Monday. So.
I noticed you had a jacket on today.
Yeah.
So, and it's nice SportsPage gear. I'll give you props, but
yeah, it's a lightweight jacket.
If Mike's wearing a jacket,
it's going to be 23 degrees there on Monday. I'll probably just still have this jacket on.
And shorts.
Yeah, and a pair of shorts.
Yeah.
I think I just won't leave the house that day.
Yeah. Troy, how you doing?
I'm doing good. My first show back, and we get my first Indiana reference 2 minutes in, so that's beautiful.
There you go.
Some things never change.
Troy,
there you go.
I just want to make sure, just for show integrity, you're a coach now.
Yeah.
There's no chance your FBI is going to be coming in here and serving an indictment on you.
No.
You haven't been doing anything shady that's going to get us in trouble.
Not yet. Always a possibility down the line if that stuff presents itself. But we got a program to build.
Okay,
so,
it's just not been a good week for coaches.
Yeah.
That's all I'm
No,
saying.
it has
So
not.
I just want to check.
We're going to try to stay out of that the best of our ability. I
Marcus,
don't really talk to any mafia people.
Marcus, I was talking to you before the show, and I told you I journeyed down to Nashville, Tennessee on Thursday. Drove down, drove back, and went down to see Rod Freeman. I know that name doesn't sound familiar to a lot of you guys, but he was an outstanding Vanderbilt basketball player back in the 1969 through 73 when I played here at UT. We played against each other, and we were teammates on the 1969 Indiana All-Star team. He was from Anderson, Indiana, so I went down, spent the day with him, and also visited with a legend sportscaster from around that area, George Plaster. Used to call the Vanderbilt Vandy play-by-play games, and he's got a radio program down there. So we talked a lot of we went down memory lane for about 3 or 4 hours in the afternoon, talking about when they first started throwing the oranges to UT teams when they walked onto the court or walked onto the football field. Those days have kind of gone by, but I'll tell you, it was quite an experience going down there and playing Vanderbilt in Memorial Coliseum. And I didn't realize some of the things that actually went on when we played each other. Rod said he played over here at Tennessee, and they lost. And going back to the locker room, you had to go through the tunnel there at Stokely, and he said he got a whole Coke poured on him going back to the locker room. And I told him, I said, well, that was a lot better than going down to your place and getting an orange thrown and getting hit in the side of the head with an orange from the upper deck there in Memorial Coliseum. But those were special times and a lot of good memories, a lot of great games. And
they sound lovely, Mike. You described them like it's a food fight in progress.
It's kind of boring now. There's just not all that controversy.
Well, if you do that now, you're going to show up on ESPN, which isn't a good thing.
Worst things to get in the head with than oranges.
Yeah.
They got some cushion to them at least.
Yeah. Well, the football team plays Vanderbilt the last game of the year, so we'll see how that
we bring it back.
Yeah.
It'll be the first Tennessee Vanderbilt game that means anything in a long time. So.
Yeah. Hey, I got a letter rip this morning.
And
I know Troy's going to be happy with this. I'm ripping black. I'm ripping black from last Saturday night.
There we go.
Okay, go ahead and duck.
All right. Last Saturday, the Tennessee Vols took on the Oklahoma Sooners in a high-stakes encounter. The game had playoff implications, and the stage was set. It was billed as a dark mode night. Fans were ready all dressed in black. Players were ready all dressed in black. The stadium lights were turned off prior to the game to set the black stage. Fireworks were shot off down by the river, and the show was put in place for everything black represents: darkness, evil, toughness, death, point of no return, curses. Well, the Vols were successful in fulfilling the funeral atmosphere they lost. Hopes of a playoff berth buried underneath the Neyland Stadium sidelines. Well, here's a solution for never again going through a dark shadow event like what happened last Saturday night. It's still fall, so pile those black jerseys and helmets in a huge pile. Everyone come dressed in traditional orange and white and burn those vampire-cursed threads forever. Bring Smokey along, and as the fire blazes, roast some hot dogs and marshmallows, and when the blaze gets low, throw in those smoky gray outfits to make it a complete burnout. Long live the orange and white, the real colors that Tennessee Volunteers wear.
I feel shamed now.
Some things never change.
Man,
Mike, I bought into the hype. I went and got special black attire for the wife to wear to the game.
Yeah.
And
man, do I have really bad news
Yeah,
for you
and-
next week.
Yeah, I know.
They go out in gray.
I've heard.
I like the black jerseys.
I've heard. I know you do, because the great thing about having Troy on this show is we have that deal where we agree to disagree. You see what I'm
Mike
saying?
and I have
so
never-
I know that Troy really liked the black uniform.
I
Yeah.
always love the black uniforms. I think
Yeah.
they look good. I think
Yeah.
they excite the fan base. And
Well, they didn't
recruits
excite him
like
very
it.
much because they left before the game
Well,
was even
you know,
over.
you can't win every game.
I understand.
I'm going to split the difference between you all as usual, but I like the black. I like the fact that it's a different look and raises money for the school, but at the same time, it's overplayed. They've got, I mean, once every couple years, but it doesn't need to be an annual thing.
I would also say more along the lines of, I like the black jerseys. Let's not label it a nightmare in Neyland. If it could literally be a nightmare in Neyland for Tennessee, probably some better marketing would be good there. That probably didn't work the way that they thought it did.
Caleb,
But it's okay.
you're dressed in all black over there this morning. What do you think about
But
it?
he's got a
fall-
Saints hat on, so
Yeah,
it's
I do have a
okay.
Saints hat on. I fall somewhere in the middle. I'm against wearing alternate jerseys all the time, like Marcus said. I think when you've got good jerseys like Tennessee or LSU or you don't ever see Alabama coming out in alternates and they beat everybody by
I like
2 touchdowns.
Yeah, but Alabama
think-
still can't put names on jerseys because they don't know how to spell.
I think the dark
Wow.
mode jerseys are really good against Kentucky. Just wear them every year against Kentucky. Beat Kentucky by 3 touchdowns.
Oh, that's
and
what
move
you're
on.
saying. Just wear the black and the gray when you're going to hammer somebody.
Yep.
There you go. There you go.
I think this was the first loss in this dark mode outfit, and then in 2021 they wore the white helmets, I think, with dark mode and lost.
Yeah.
But they've
That
only
was the
played
South Carolina game
Yeah.
that went so ugly, right?
Yeah.
No, that was 22. They had orange helmets that game.
Yeah.
21 they wore dark mode at home, I think, or it might have been on the road. All of that to say, they've done really good in the dark mode jerseys, Mike, when they're playing Kentucky.
Yeah.
Or South
But
Carolina.
unfortunately, Oklahoma was not Kentucky in a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
they weren't intimidated. They didn't seem to be too intimidated with all that black.
Tennessee could also beat Kentucky if they just played all the coaches' kids. Doesn't matter what age they are. Kentucky's just going to pee down its leg when Tennessee shows up against
No,
them.
exactly. Exactly. Hey, we got some other Tennessee sports news here. Lady Vols head basketball coach Kim Caldwell dismissed senior guard Ruby Whitehorn after the player's second arrest. Whitehorn started 28 of 34 games last season and averaged 11.6 points per game. A week before the first game, or a couple of days or so before the first game. Caleb, she really didn't have any choice, did she?
No, just a victim of the circumstances, I think, with how quick both arrests were in succession, especially when you're at a place like Tennessee with the Lady Vols brand and everything that goes along with that. And it didn't help that her first arrest, made national headlines. Like, it was on page 3 of the New York Post the next day, just because it's Tennessee women's basketball. So whenever she got reinstated the first time, she had a checklist to hit. She had to do certain counseling things, and she hit all of those, but then was driving around at 4:30 in the morning after the scrimmage and got in trouble again. And I think they released her the next day.
Yeah. And, Troy, I believe in giving everybody a second chance, and that's what they did.
Yeah.
With her. They gave her a second chance and an opportunity, and it just didn't work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think Kim makes the right decision to kind of uphold some some standard in her program. Obviously, she's still new to this and going into year 2, and and at the same point, I'm thinking for Ruby and just hoping that she finds the help she needs and is able to kind of turn things around for herself.
They opened up, the Lady Vols opened up against North Carolina State, 2 teams I think ranked in the top 10. I think one was 8 and one was 9, right in there somewhere. And North Carolina State came out 80-77, which was a excellent basketball game. And what really kind of did the Lady Vols in was they didn't have a good defensive game against them, and they didn't shoot the basketball very well. They shot 39%, 30 for 77, and 9 for 33 from three-point range, 27.3%. And the free throw shooting, they were 8 for 14 at the free throw line. So you could almost say they could have lost the game at the line, 57.1%. And rebounds were even, and contrary to where Rick Barnes in his opener was really complaining about turning the ball over 18 or 20 times in their opener, which was their downside. The Lady Vols only turned the ball over 11 times, and if you get beat and you only turn it over 11 times and you don't shoot very well, you look a lot better than really you thought you looked.
Yeah.
Those turnovers is what really makes you look bad.
It's a really young team, too, and I think that's where you saw some of the defensive problems, or also, too, when it got close at the end, people, instead of running sets, they started to chuck up three-pointers, and I think that was some of the youth of everybody wanted to be the player who won the game instead of getting into the offense and trying to make something happen.
I think you're right. They're looking for that identity, which, I mean, at this point in the season, that's kind of normal. But they've got the good news is you got a lot of people who are willing to put that on their shoulders, but not that many of them proved that they are actually that person. So you've got some figuring out to do to kind of set that up as to who is going to be your go-to and who's going to prove that they're the go-to.
Yeah. Well, they came back good yesterday to beat East Tennessee State 97-47. No contest there. On the men's side, Tennessee opened against Mercer last week. Maybe a little closer than to Comfort in that one. Tennessee won 76-61. A lot of people thought they would win that one a little bit more going away, but that didn't happen. They shot the ball pretty well. They shot almost 50% from the floor and over 41% on their threes, and free throws were a little bit of a problem, 9 for 15, and they out-rebounded Mercer 54-32, which was really the big difference in the game. But what made them look bad, and, of course, this will be corrected because this is a real non-characteristic of Rick Barnes' basketball team, was the 19 turnovers, Troy.
Yeah, and it's a brand-new backcourt, a brand-new point guard that has to learn a brand-new system, and obviously you replace so much from last year's team, and so there's bumps that come with that, and so you have to kind of figure that out. I think Jacoby will get it figured out the more, in-game experience he gets. There's only so much you can really get at a certain point from practice and whatnot. So, just getting those reps and they'll be all right.
And Troy, he's basically got an all-star team over there, of transfer portal people, and he's good at that. He's good at going out in the transfer portal and putting a team together. But the downside of that, it takes time, doesn't it? It takes a little bit of time to get that going and get it ready, and they'll come around.
Yeah.
They'll come around.
I think, too, obviously the guards are coming into their own, but also the big men didn't help very much. Rick was not too pleased with his 7-footers bringing the ball down to their knees. And when you play a team like Mercer, they're just going to be poking at the ball the whole game. So when you've got guys in there like Jalen Carey, who should know from a full SEC season at Vanderbilt not to bring the ball down, I think he ended up with 3 or 4 turnovers, all from getting rebounds and immediately putting the ball down and somebody taking it.
Yeah. They got Northern Kentucky today at 3 o'clock over at the field house there in Knoxville. And Northern Kentucky, Marcus, you may remember this, but I think a few years ago they went into Rupp and beat Kentucky up there. If Donnie Moore was here, he could go back and take a look at that. But I think they went in and beat Kentucky several years ago up there.
I think they were a tournament team last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah. So they'll be in at 3 o'clock. I guess a good weekend to do it because the football team's not playing, and I guess that's why it was scheduled.
I got tickets for tonight.
All right.
So I'll be there.
The football team, they're off this weekend. They'll be back in action next weekend against New Mexico State.
Homecoming.
That'll be homecoming. Homecoming next week.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, there's something I did find out down in Nashville.
Oh, no.
Rod Freeman told me.
Here we go.
Now, you guys will like this. I just kind of looked at him. I said, it started off, Rod said, do you have anything over at Tennessee, reunions or anything like that? I said, no, we don't have many reunions over there. We don't keep in touch much. And he said, well, we don't do that down here at Vanderbilt, but said they're really good with the players as far as tickets. Said they give all former basketball players 2 complimentary season tickets.
Wow.
At Vanderbilt.
To basketball?
To basketball.
That would be the whole arena.
There you go. There you go. There you go. But I thought that was they've done it. They've done it for years. And back for years and years, Vanderbilt had a pretty good basketball team. Now from '69 to '73, the SEC was not what it is now.
Right.
The teams that were really good in the Southeastern Conference in basketball were Kentucky, Tennessee was very competitive, Vanderbilt very competitive, and Alabama were your 4, and then everybody else was sort of down there. But you're talking about a program over the years that's had great tradition in basketball, and to give 2 tickets to their players, I think that's quite remarkable. I don't look for that to happen over here, but
meanwhile, you're still waiting to get. You're still waiting for your SEC championship.
Yeah, our team to be recognized. The 72 championship team that hadn't been recognized in 60 years or whatever.
You can get a couple tickets. You just have to fork up some money.
Yeah, and they may be up at the top too. They may be up all the way to the top. Of
maybe
the
in
arena.
2027 for the 55th anniversary, Mike, they'll get you out there.
Yeah, they can all wheel us out there. Yeah, prop us up.
It's only 2 years
prop
away, really.
Up. Where'd they get these guys out of the nursing home or what? Yeah.
Show up on the bus.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk about last week's Oklahoma game over here. Disappointing because Tennessee was in the hunt for. They kind of controlled their own destiny for maybe a playoff spot with what they had left in the year, and it was a game with a ranked team, which was going to really help them, I thought. But as you look at it, as I looked at that first half, I looked at it and I just thought, Tennessee's just beating themselves.
Oh.
The first half, it was just shooting themselves in the foot. And I was worried about the second half because, you can only get away with that so long, Troy, and I think that first half really set the stage for the second when they just had so many opportunities and just didn't get it done.
Yeah, the one that for me is like you're going in, it looks like at the very least you're going to go up 10-0. It kind of feels like you're going in for a score to go up 14-0, and I think at that point, the blackout in the crowd, all the energy going into the game, you go up 14-0 there. I think Oklahoma kind of folds, especially since their offense never really got off the ground anyway. The fumble and then the scoop and score kind of breathed some life into them, and I think Tennessee, just battled its own demons the rest of the night, and don't think could get out of his head. Joey obviously definitely couldn't. You probably couldn't play worse in the first half than he did. I'm not really sure he remembered what jersey Tennessee was wearing in that first half, and so just that's kind of the way that it's been for them in the Heupel era, and I don't have really too many negative things to say about him because I'm one of the first people to remind you where we were before he got on campus. It was bad. But a trend of theirs has been that in the games that they lose, they shoot themselves in the foot, and they don't lose because they're an infinitely worse team than the team they line up against. They usually create a bunch of self-inflicted wounds that you look back on and you go, man, you could have won that one, and that's been the story of the year, Georgia and Oklahoma, really.
I think Troy nailed it, though, and he made your case for you, Mike. Alternate uniforms with NIL era and transfer portal, that can be confusing for a quarterback.
Yeah,
he thought he was at App State again.
He wasn't sure about the black uniforms and had to take a second to make sure he was throwing to the right team.
Now, that's the only explanation I can think for those 2 throws in the first half.
The
like
safety baited him. Oh, no, I think it was the first one where the safety came over. I don't think he ever saw the safety.
No, he never saw it.
But
never.
The second one, we couldn't even really figure out on replay who that was intended to.
I think it
was over a tight end, but way underthrown from the receiver.
Yeah, it looked like a punt. Looked like a punt to me.
If you watch the reaction when they come back to the huddle, there was a wrong route involved, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Because he was not happy and the receiver was not happy. You could see the frustration from the hand gestures. But I'm going to take it the other way. I don't think people gave enough credit for Oklahoma's defense, which
they were good.
It came in as statistically the best defense in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about it on here. Well, are they really? Because you look at who they played. Are they real? After watching them, they may not have as many 5 stars, but they've got enough 4 stars that they can come at you from so many different ways that they don't have to leave their base package very much. And I think that's where they got Tennessee in the second half was They forced back-to-back 3-and-outs. The first one where they ran the ball 3 times and didn't pick up first down, and then 3 incompletions on that next drive. And Oklahoma didn't change, and that's what Tennessee likes to do. They like to make you overcorrect. Like, we're going to go deep, so now we're going to back off, and now we're going to run the ball at you.
Right.
Oklahoma never overcorrected.
And Oklahoma ran the ball, and Mateer picked up some really big first downs at quarterback. You know, he really hurt him with the running game, especially in situations where they just shouldn't have got the first down, and he somehow found a way to get it. And when he got that in the second half, and they started to run the ball, they ran the clock. They shortened the game, which meant that every possession, once you're on top, is so meaningful. You got to make or break with the possession that you got.
Well,
in the second half.
It doesn't hurt when you can kick the field goals from 50 yards out.
That's true. It does.
No, that was a big factor too.
It does hurt that your defensive coordinator was the only person on the planet who didn't know that they were running quarterback power 6 times a drive, and he just never adjusted to it.
Yeah,
I don't think. Honestly, I don't think Tennessee's ever adjusted to a running quarterback.
Nope.
Even guys who don't run, they made look good. I think Ty Simpson is a guy who doesn't necessarily run. He's like your stereotypical pocket passer, Kentucky's quarterback as well. And they were able to break off runs when nothing was open too.
Yeah.
So I think it's just, top to bottom. If the quarterback can run, which for Tennessee fans who have Vanderbilt circled as the last game of the season, for a quarterback who can run, Tennessee's defense is a dream.
When Tennessee scored the last touchdown there, they had 2 timeouts left. They decided to go for the onside kick, if you remember.
Yep.
Should maybe they've considered to kick the ball long right there instead of going for the onside kick? The percentage of getting an onside kick are pretty low. And then, of course, Oklahoma did what? They ran it up the middle, and that's it. That's pretty much it. That helped seal the deal.
I honestly don't think it matters. Tennessee at no point threatened to stop the run in the second half. So it didn't matter if Oklahoma was starting on its own 20 or the 50. Tennessee just wasn't making plays defensively up front to be able to stop the run. And the minute that they didn't recover the onside kick, I knew the game was over because they weren't going to get 3 stops and get off the field.
I agree. And to your point too, Mike, even if you lose that onside kick, if you were going to get a stop with a touchback, you could also get a stop at midfield to keep them out of field goal range. Because even if you kicked it off, if Oklahoma got 1 first down, the game would have been over.
He might have hit it from 65, though.
Yeah, with the way he was kicking, he could have. But also those onside kicks,
I wonder if that was
too,
part of it. Like if they were, like if the thought was, well, if we don't recover it, they're at midfield, maybe we can bait them into kicking instead of going for it on 4th down.
Shorter field.
And also too, neither of those onside kicks were really good. I think the first one was okay, and then the second one he kicked it so hard it was either a Oklahoma play or out of bounds.
Yep.
So I think that's the first time we've seen an onside kick in a very long time from Tennessee.
Yeah. Well,
and it showed.
It did. Yeah.
It showed.
In the game late, Tennessee had a 4th and 1.
Yeah.
And they tried the pass to the tight end. And I don't know what happened on that pass. I was talking to my wife. I said he had to lose that ball in the lights or something. That ball hit him right in the face. I hit him right in the face guard in a tight end. And I understand he was a freshman tight end. So I'm questioning, maybe that wasn't the play call was okay, but maybe the wrong person on that end there.
Yeah, it's hard to question the play call because he's wide open and it's drawn up perfectly.
Right.
I would have liked it to be to somebody who has maybe touched the football this year.
Yeah.
And somebody who wasn't a right tackle in high school.
Yeah.
He played offensive line in high school.
Yeah, that was kind of puzzling. But on 4th and 1, anybody here think that maybe they should have just lined up and ran the football right there?
They didn't establish the run the entire game. They didn't run the football the entire night, so you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Tennessee's offensive line against Oklahoma's defensive line was confused all night, whether it was run or pass, because they were doing so many stunts. But also, you have your tight end open, and Josh Heupel's explanation was that the tight end got hung up and it messed up the timing. He's wide open either way. So even if your timing is messed up, you need what? Maybe 3 feet 1 inch. Like, you should be able to turn around and look for the football whether you're hung up or not.
And but it was.
Or Joey should have the wherewithal.
It was
to
the
see
right
you not
call,
looking.
wrong personnel.
Yep.
Is what it was.
Yeah.
Because when you look at what Oklahoma was taking away, like they'd pretty much taken away running the bubble screen to the running back, which was what Tennessee really wanted to do there, but they'd already broken it up twice in that quarter, so they weren't going back to it. It was a great call, just the wrong guy was out
Yeah.
there to catch the ball.
And that was
Exactly
such a
right.
huge play because, when you get down to Tennessee's 3 losses, you look at plays.
Yep.
You can say, well, the defense didn't play really well and they ran the ball and we threw some interceptions. But when you get right down to it, you're thinking, could have made this play or could have made this play. The field goal against Georgia sealed the
Field
deal.
goals against Georgia. The
Maybe
pick
if you'd have
six
made,
at the half
maybe if he made
against
the fourth,
Alabama.
made the 4th and 1 right there,
Mhm.
maybe a different deal. You start looking at it a little bit different. I got a question. I tried to make sense of this. Oklahoma on their last possession there, before they got the onside kick. But anyway, they went up the middle, and the guy takes it all the way to the 1-yard line, and he falls down. What was his thinking right there?
I think he thought we can just run this clock out now, but just go in and score. You're up 9 with a minute left at that point. You're all right.
Yeah.
Tennessee wasn't going to win the football game, but
Yeah.
I think he just wanted not to give the ball back to Tennessee because
Well-
historically Tennessee is such a quick strike offense.
Yeah,
that,
they are.
But
They are.
with
And
no
they-
timeouts and
I don't think anybody told him the math and the
Yeah.
time. Because if it was
And
maybe
it wouldn't have mattered the way the clock was
Yeah.
actually run
Exactly.
the last 2.5 minutes.
yeah.
But if it was like a 3-point game, then maybe you want to kneel it out. But in
Yeah.
that situation,
you're going up 2 possessions.
yeah, you're
they don't
going up
have
2
any
possessions and ending
timeouts.
the game.
Yeah.
But you see that a lot in the NFL now, more so I feel like recently than the past,
Yeah.
where
But
you're starting to play the numbers game like we
That's-
talked about.
When he did that, some bad things can happen after
Yeah.
that. You can
Mhm.
fumble,
You could
the
fumble it,
ball,
yep.
or you can do a lot of things down there to mess yourself up. But
That's also
I-
not
I-
knowing your opponent because if you know your opponent, when Josh Heupel sees 1 minute, 2 minute left on the clock, he gets a little jittery and antsy, and he forgets what he has to
Yeah.
do. So, when Tennessee gets in those situations, if you're the opponent, you feel pretty good.
yeah,
he gets lost in the woods.
I was a little disappointed in the UT fans. The game was still on the line right up until the last onside kick.
Yeah.
Now, the first onside kick, they had a chance at that onside kick. I mean, it was pretty close. I mean, I thought the execution was pretty good. The second one, not so much. But when that second one, onside kick, came about, there wasn't hardly anybody left in the stands. But I just thought, hey, man, the game is still, stranger things have happened in football games. And you look at Vanderbilt and Texas last week when you thought that game was over, and Vanderbilt came back and just about got an onside kick right there after scoring, and they could have won that football game. And I was a little bit surprised that they evacuated a little bit prematurely.
I don't disagree with you, Mike, but I'll be honest with you, and I think I sent this text to my friends at halftime. I don't know if I've ever seen a football team in their home stadium with like a big event happening. You get everybody to dress up in a color. You get all the frills around the game. I don't know if I've ever seen a football team take its own crowd out of the game the way Tennessee did on Saturday.
You're right about that.
Yeah,
I don't know if I've ever seen a team do that as effectively as they did. They just completely destroyed their own home field
the crowd
advantage.
was as gloomy as the way they looked,
Yeah.
weren't they?
Yeah,
It didn't start out that way.
They never gave Tennessee. They never gave the fans a reason to cheer
But
once they got the scoop
But
and
I
score. It was like, oh,
understand
here we
it.
go.
How do you get excited in black? I mean, really?
It's just a
Well, the
shirt,
one-
Mike.
I mean, it's like you look like you're going to a funeral. Well, maybe I am. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
And
Huh?
the thing you couldn't
I
see on
think-
TV, which was an actual impact, I think, because of the timing of when people started to leave, and it's a lemming thing. Once the first group starts leaving, everybody else starts thinking about it. But about 4 minutes to go, about 3.5. That weather that they had been talking about
Started to roll in a little bit.
actually rolled in, and the wind started blowing into the stadium off the river, and the temperature dropped about 5 degrees in about 2 minutes, and suddenly you saw, and if you watch underneath the press box
Get a little cold.
in that high dollar area, you started seeing, pick on you, Mike, white hairs started going up,
But
and
Doesn't-
suddenly it became a surge of
that
people
should
leaving
have
the
even
stadium.
set the atmosphere more. It's so ghoulish with all that weather,
Yeah,
that
it-
eerie weather coming
Well,
in.
it's
Too bad it was 16-10 at halftime.
It's cold. We can't run the football. We can't stop the run. Our quarterback's throwing the ball to the other team.
the ball's
Our
hitting-
coach doesn't
the-
know what's
the
going on.
ball's
I'm
hitting-
getting out of here.
The ball is hitting
And
guys in the
apparently,
face.
and apparently they watched The Walking Dead before they walked out there, because that was how they played.
Yeah.
Just a bad night, man.
Well,
It was
okay.
warm in the press box.
All right. Well, let's where's Tennessee now? I mean, they're 6-3. They got New Mexico State next week. I assume they'll bounce back with that one with a 7-3, and that leaves Florida, always a tough place to go down there, and Vanderbilt, who could be playing for a playoff spot to come in here the last game of the season. They've got their work cut out for. Mark has predicted preseason they'd be 7-5. Most all of the rest of us were 9-3 or 8-4, and I think the 8-4 and 9-3 was where most people were, Troy. So I don't really know what all the rumbling among fans are, because going into the season there was question marks about the quarterback. You know, he was unproven. There was talk that he does throw interceptions at times. That was his background, and he's done that. Yeah. And here we are, the Tennessee team looking at a 9-3 possibly, or an 8-4. So why all the rumblings?
Because it's the Tennessee fan base.
I think it's the Tennessee fan base, and I think naturally, I think if you really love the team you cheer for, I think you get caught up in the moment, and it's something that I try not to do with teams I like. Like if I have an expectation going into the season, I'm not a huge fan of now readjusting my expectations because one thing changes. And I think Joey played so well at the beginning of the year that all the 8-4, 9-3s, and then you get into that first half against Georgia and you see that and you go, man, we're better than that. And the realistic part is that's a new group and a new fresh teams have to figure out what that looks like when they scout Tennessee, and eventually teams start to figure that out, and you kind of regress back to the norm a little bit. And I think that's kind of what's happened, and I think that's where they're going to end up as an 8-4, 9-3, and I'm okay with that. But I think we lose sight sometimes when early in the season things go differently than you expected.
Yeah,
I think to Troy's point, it's all the results. If you go and get blown out by Georgia and Alabama, I think fans would. Yeah, but since you're so close against Georgia and lose, so close against Alabama and that game goes that way with the 99-yard pick six, you're so close against Oklahoma and that game plays out the way it does. I think that's the problem that makes Tennessee fans upset,
yeah.
And it brings out the coaching malpractice, because if you get blown out, you can say, "Oh, our offensive line wasn't as good.
Yeah.
We weren't talented enough." But you're in these close games and 2 or 3 coaching decisions flip it.
And with that being said, you're left with this. You beat Mississippi State, you beat Arkansas, and you beat Kentucky. And where are they in the SEC? They're in the bottom of the cellar. You see? That's what you're left with right now.
You're going to end up playing 4 teams without a head coach.
And now you're looking at the schedule and you're going, well, we've gone through this year and we really haven't. We've played with people, good people, but we haven't beaten anybody this year. We just haven't beaten anybody. And you're looking at Florida that's really struggling. And if you beat Florida, it's like, well, you should beat Florida. They're down. They've lost their coach. I don't know how much of an accolade you're going to get on that.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at Vandy. And that would be your marquee win if everything plays out, and Vandy comes in here at 9-2, playing for a spot in the playoffs. I mean, that's what you got left in this season. Question is that enough for these players to not let up in any sense of the word now that they're really out of the playoff picture?
Well, imagine the scenario plays out. If you're 9-3, if Tennessee wins out and is 9-3, and then you've got this fan base buying into hype and saying, "Oh, we're a bubble team for the playoffs."
Yeah.
Whereas if they lose one of those games against Florida or Vanderbilt, they're 8-4, and that should be better because you could cheer for a bowl game matchup with UCLA and get to see Nico again.
Yeah.
You would get the Tennessee UCLA Music City Bowl you wanted all along. Or if you're 7-5, you could even make it a Liberty Bowl.
Or you could get that old faithful of, hey, we're going to get Northwestern or Iowa from up there in the Big Ten. Or maybe they'll throw in Illinois this year, and then you get that win and go, oh, there we go. We got us a bowl win right here. Next year's our year. That's Tennessee. Next year's going to be our year because, we did.
Click replay, Mike.
Yeah. I know we got to get out of here, but I'm going to pose this last question. Is Tennessee the best team right now as we talk? I'll start with you, Troy. Are they the best team in Tennessee, the best football team?
I mean, I guess we'll get a for sure answer the last week of the season when they play Vanderbilt.
No, I'm not talking about the last week of the season. I'm talking about right now.
I'm going to say yes.
They're the best team?
Yes.
Okay. Because we're looking at Tennessee Tech,
I'm not, Mike. We have to stop. Mike, we have to stop this. We have to stop this.
Hey,
Let me finish
Tennessee
here.
Tech is ranked top 10.
They're 9-0.
They're gonna beat Kentucky today.
Vanderbilt is 7-2 going into today, and Memphis lost last night, so they're 8 and I think they're 8-2 now. 8-2, I think Memphis, because they lost to Tulane last night. Caleb, are the Vols the best team in the state right now?
No, I'll go Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt has a ranked win. Tennessee's wins are over teams that
and
don't have a head coach
and
or want to fire
And
their
listen,
coach.
they've got some close calls in their losses too.
Yeah.
You know, Marcus.
I think right now Vanderbilt's a better team.
I think
or Tennessee Tech.
Listen,
you never know.
Vanderbilt. I really like I really like Vanderbilt's quarterback. I really like his quarterback, but they're better defensively than they've been. But where they're not as good, and they've got that question mark, is the depth over there at Vanderbilt. The depth.
Yeah.
I think they got good players on both sides of the ball, but I don't know where they're going to be. You know, in the fourth quarter.
The only
Now, who you left out, Mike, was Maryville College.
Now they might be the best team in the state of Tennessee.
Sorry.
They're
I'm
they're a
sorry.
one-loss team,
Yeah.
and if they win at Berry today, I mean they're setting up a conference championship game for the end of the season.
I get it.
the only
Get it done
proven-
today, Ben.
The only proven we have here, Maryville College beat Rhodes and Sewanee, and Tennessee beat ETSU. That's the only in-state competition. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right. We'll leave it at that. Boy, I won't put a can of worms right there.
I think you do it just to
Yeah.
make me mad.
Maybe I should have waited until we
Yeah.
played Vanderbilt and asked that question. Hey, let's take a timeout here, and when we return, I'll provide some high school scores from the playoffs last night and some other news from around the area, and then veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons will join us with his feature, Mark It Down, along with Caleb Jarreau, and we'll go from there. You're listening to the GoTeez SportsPage, Blount County Sports Voice, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a
No, I
lumber
just
store.
mentioned them
Can take
because they're
care of
9-0.
From design to
I'm just-
install, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
Welcome back to the GoTeez Sports Page. I'm Mike Edwards and Greenfield Gunner, and I'm going to be filling in for Donnie Moore. And I don't guess we've talked about Donnie here this morning, but he's still recuperating at home from some illness that he's had. And we're hoping that Donnie's listening out there. We're hoping you'll be back with us next Saturday. We miss you, buddy.
He is listening.
Yeah,
He's
he's
texted
giving
me
us
already.
updates.
But
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
last
Is
week
he-
it was too dry.
Is
This
he
week it's too
critiquing us?
wet.
Is that what he's doing? Critiquing
yeah, he is, which is
Yeah.
good. We need that.
Yeah.
He's coaching.
Well,
He's in the press box right now.
We certainly miss him. This is the third week he's been out, and hopefully he'll be back with us next week at full speed. We'll look forward to that. High school football last night, and I've got Marcus Fitzsimmons and Caleb Jarreau and Troy Provost Heron here with me, and nothing to write home about as far as close games last night here in the county. I'll start with Alcoa. Alcoa beat Cherokee 56-0. Eagleton Academy beat Cumberland Gap 48-0, and Maryville beat West Ridge 41-7. And if you've got your calculators together right there, that's 145-7.
That's great.
I don't know what Maryville was thinking when they let West Ridge score last night, but that was really disappointed that let them, or that could have been 145-0, 0.
Yeah.
But
That's some good first-round matchups.
I guess the best thing is that they got through a lot of them before the rain really hit.
Hey, I was dry as a bone at Maryville. I'll say that.
Well, let me
I know Marcus
before we
was.
get in, start breaking them down. We need to kick in. Josh Lane, I think, is driving back from Memphis today after 2 days at the state cross country championships. Clayton Bradley had
More
a
power to him.
great first day out there. I think it was their best performance to date. ninth place, top 10 finish. And most of that team is 8th graders or freshmen, so their future's looking really bright there. Alcoa had a solid performance. You had the Heritage girls who finished runner-up, which was a great outing for them.
And they'd never had a runner. I think Josh said they never had a runner finish top 10 before this time.
Yeah, so that means Heritage just had a really good season. Unfortunately, because of when they ran yesterday and when they got back here in the weather, we couldn't get them in here today. Couldn't track them down. But we're going to try to get them in here later just to talk about that, because the girls' team just really shined out from where they were a year ago. It was an amazing jump.
Yeah, and I'm glad they got that over last week, because if they were going to run it on Monday or Tuesday, they would be running it in the snow. Isn't that amazing? Huh?
They don't care.
No, I don't guess.
They don't.
Yeah.
They're nuts
Hey, that's hard on the
anyway.
lungs. When it's cold
was-
like that, it's hard on the lungs.
When they were running the regionals in Chattanooga, it was misting the whole time and 40 degrees. And the coach told Josh Lane, that's running weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
like
they're
that.
psychopaths.
All right, I get it.
Cross country,
I get
they're
it.
a different breed of athlete.
Yeah, they're tough.
Totally different.
Tough
Yeah.
people.
But go back over to what you said. The Alcoa game and the Eagleton game both ended early. From what I can gather from what Nate said last night, it looked like maybe into the third, start of the fourth quarter somewhere in there, Eagleton got called because of lightning. And they had a brief meeting on the field and decided it was over because of Eagleton's big lead. At Alcoa,
Well, it was over in the first quarter. But
Alcoa was up 56-0 with 9 minutes to go when the lightning, I guess Peggy's lightning meter went off and she signaled the officials. But Cherokee wasn't willing to concede, so we had to actually spend 10 or 15 minutes waiting on them to decide the weather was just too bad to bother. And then we had a very unexpectedly wet, brief shaking of hands between the coaches. And if you haven't seen the video on NFHS, I'm sure it's going to be on social media sometime today. It was rather entertaining to watch.
What a show of sportsmanship right there, huh, Troy?
Beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
going
what
out
sports
in
is all
the
about.
lightning and the rain to shake hands. That's
I
what
it's
it's
gotta
all about.
say, Maryville was a professionally run operation. You saw
You
some
all
lightning.
got done. You all
Listen, listen.
You all were 2 miles away, so you got to play an extra 3
Saw-
minutes and
you
get
could
done.
see the lightning in the distance from the Alcoa side of Blount County. And then when the game ended, they ran the clock. PA came over and said, lightning in the area, please leave. Turned off the scoreboard, turned off the lights. That was it. Everybody left.
Right.
So,
No, not a drop of rain.
and Mike, you hit on it that it was what we usually see in the first round, which is a lot the 4-1s matchups, and that's what we had. Well, we had 2-3 matchup, but it was basically the same as a 1-4 matchup. So you had some lopsided scores. What we got next week is the unveiling of the atrocity that is the new TSSAA playoff formula, where the regions have been scootered around for the second round in the way they do the pairings. So where we used to be seeing like the Region 1 runner-up playing the Region 2 champion at this stage, now you're seeing things where the Region 2 runner-up is playing the Region 4 champion, and that's a lot of travel. And Caleb, you said you worked out some
I
of the
did
travel
some
that's
math.
happening.
I double-checked it this morning, and I did it last night at 2
Journalists
a.m.
doing math is a scary thing.
So this has no traffic involved because I did this at 2 a.m. last night. Of the 48 matchups next week, at least 25 are going to be over 3 hours of travel time. And if Cosby wins today in the rain-delayed game, it'll be 26 of the 48 are over 3 hours. If you want to go over 2.5 hours, it's 29 of the 48 are over 2.5 hours, and then that would be 30 if Cosby wins. So let me read you some highlights here, Mike. You've got Eagleville is playing Memphis Middle College. That's 3.5 hours. That's the other side of Nashville. And 2A, Fairleigh and East Nashville, 3.5 hours. 3A, you got Gatlinburg Pittman hosting Forest. That's an over 4-hour travel time, which I think would be over time zones too.
Yeah.
So the Forest High
That's a
Schoolers,
plane trip.
basically the Forest High Schoolers are going to have to leave school at 11 a.m. Halls is hosting Lawrence County. It's over 4 hours, another time distance too. Knox Central, so this is all 5A is terrible. Powell is hosting Lincoln County. That's 3.5 hours. Halls is hosting Lawrence County. That's 4 hours. Knox Central is hosting Columbia. That's 3.5 hours. Beach is hosting Mumford. That's 3.5 hours. And Memphis Central hosting Centennial is 3 hours and 15 minutes. And 6A, Dobbins Bennett will host Blackman.
which is terrible.
Over 4 hours.
Oh,
You've got to
Science
drive
Hill-
through. You've got to go through Nashville and Knoxville traffic
Yep.
to get up to the Tri-Cities.
I'm pretty sure Science Hill travels to Green Hill. I don't know who hosts in that one, but that's a 4-hour trip. Collierville plays Antioch. That's 3.5 hours. And then Maryville and Riverdale barely missed the mark. 2 hours and 53 minutes will be the trip for Riverdale on Friday. Once again, crossing time zones, so they're going to have to leave probably around lunchtime,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, and you're talking about teams getting there, but, you know, they've got pet vans they
Parents.
take, and they might take a pet bus and students on the road. Students are on the road. I mean, they're getting their cars, and they're going to head out to these games, and that's kind of a scary deal. You know, teenagers all piled in cars driving 3.5 hours to get there and then back in the dark, and you don't know what kind of weather they're going to be running into. And then you got parents that you know, they're going to have to take off work to come and see the games. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a good situation.
And
to me.
Marcus pointed this out in the office, too, to your point, Mike. A lot of these aren't just hop on the interstate and drive 3 hours. It's
get on the interstate.
drive
and then
an hour to the interstate, drive on the interstate for an hour and a half, and then
And get
drive an
off.
hour off
Yeah.
the interstate. So you're going to have kids
in
who
places,
want,
with,
Especially
in
when you
places
get
with
to
no
the
street
2A
lights.
games.
Yep.
yeah, you're going to have a lot of high schoolers wanting to support their friends playing football or cheerleaders going to the game, driving on windy back roads they've never driven on before in the dark. Because it's going to be dark at 5, so you're going to be driving in the dark the whole
And
way.
Crazy.
it's almost, I mean, it's a punishment in some ways because you've got, like, Bradley
It's
Central,
idiocy is what it is.
who goes up, wins at Jefferson County, gets the upset on the road. It's a 2-3 matchup. Their reward is they go to Murfreesboro to play Oakland. So not only do you have to play a region champion, but you got to drive 4 hours to get there. And then Science Hill's going to Green Hill, which is almost as bad. And you get some of these where we actually had 2 4-1 upsets last night, and the reward for both of them is 3.5-hour road trips. That's just, I mean, that's your reward for pulling a 4-1 upset is you
Yeah.
get to go on the road and drive.
Who likes this format?
Well,
It's a lot of the coaches who don't make the playoffs
Uh-huh.
or play the same teams every year and lose.
yeah. I was going to say,
I think it was 51% or 52% of coaches.
It was
approved
not
it.
it was
It was
barely a
very
majority.
close.
It was a very close vote, and
who proposed this in the first place?
some of the coaches who ended up losing to the same team in the second round every year.
Fair enough. You know,
They're
what-
like we're like the third best team in this quad, but we never get past the second round because we have to play Alcoa every year type of situation. That's not the one who produced this, but it was that kind of setup.
one of my favorite one of the things I really miss about this show is that I don't have the platform to bash TSSAA anymore like I used to.
No, you have to be careful now.
Yeah, I do. But I will say this:
Somebody's got to sign those checks.
sometimes they make it seem as though that place is run by a pack of hamsters. Like they're just like just have like 5 brain cells fire off at the same time and like think of a better idea.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense sometimes. Just the lunacy decisions they make.
We've talked about this on before, and I'm going to talk about it again. I looked down through those first round games, and we're 145-7 in these first round games right here. I mean, and that's the way that a lot of times it goes with the top team playing the number 4 seed throughout the years that we've had this get together of a playoff. But that being said, and what you're saying with travel and everything, and I look at the record of some of the teams that were in this, 3-7, 4-6. I mean, it's supposed to be, if you talk to coaches, they're going, well, we like the 4 teams to get in because you earn your way into the playoffs. Oh, okay. Farragut 3-7 earned their way into the playoffs last night at 3-7 to go up to Dobbins-Bennett, and hats off to them. They played Dobbins-Bennett pretty tough up there. But putting that aside, I'm just saying, look, if you're looking at some of those teams you're going to put in there and you're looking at money, put everybody in the playoffs. Put all your football team, play a 9-game schedule, put everybody in the playoffs. You get rid of these 1 versus 4 games. Those 4 teams are going to play 3 and 4 or whatever. It's going to be more. It's going to be more competitive in those first round games. They're going to feel better about it than getting beat 56-0, 48-0, and 41-7. All your other sports are set up for everybody. Basketball has everybody in the tournament.
Basically, yeah.
Baseball has everybody in the tournament going in. Girls softball, you name it. Everybody's in going in except football.
Mike, we'd have to reduce the classification numbers.
Yeah, you got to shrink.
Because
Something
in class 3A, in class 2A, you don't have enough teams to do that. You've only got 18 teams on this side of the state in 2A.
They should have reduced the classification numbers 10 years ago.
Let me give you a stat, Mike. A fourth, exactly a fourth in every Division I classification are losing teams. So
Yes.
8 teams in each class
What
have
have they
losing
earned?
records.
They've earned the right to stay home.
I agree with
But
you.
when you're in some of those cases where your region schedule has only got 4 or 5 games on it, and you're not a 6A team, then you're being scheduled by bigger teams, and you're picking up losses.
And then on the other hand, you've got teams that didn't play last night that, record-wise, have an argument that they should be in the playoffs. I mean, William Blount was 5-5. What makes a 3-7 Farragut team better than a 5-5 William Blount team? I don't get it.
The ideal world is you reduce the classifications and keep it as the top four in the region, because that would be more like basketball and baseball and softball, and that's kind of what leads to that competitiveness of it a little bit, is that there are less classifications for it, so you kind of get a bigger jumble of better teams. When you have 9 classifications and you take the top 4 in every region and so spread out in the 9 classifications, yeah, you're going to get some really cruddy teams that get in and then sign up for a 2-hour drive to get their brains beaten in.
There was South Pittsburgh played a team that hasn't won a game this year. They played an 0-10 team and beat them like 60-7.
That 0-10 team earned their way in there. They get a chance to maybe win a game.
Hey,
I don't know.
Maybe they do a really good job of putting their jerseys on.
They look really good on Tuesday practice.
Let me ask this question, because a lot of it boils down to money. Let's say you play the 9-game schedule and you work it out some way where everybody's in the playoffs, like a district tournament in basketball or district tournament in baseball and whatever, and then they boil down to either 2 teams or 4 teams when they go to the region in those sports, the other sports.
Yeah.
From a money standpoint, if you let everybody in and everybody has a better chance in that first round, wouldn't they make more money?
It depends on who's going to travel and how you set it up. If you set it up like some of those basketball tournaments where they used to be on that play-in round where you had like the 5 play the 8 and the 6 play the 7, I think you could, when you've got 18 regions, you can do that, and I think you would get a good gate. But if you started off with 1 playing 8 and 2 playing 7, nobody's going to show up for those games except for the 4-5.
Yeah.
Nobody, I mean, because they're going to be. Last night was bad. I think the worst one I saw was 70-0.
How many people did Cherokee bring to Alcoa last night?
About a third of the stands were full, which was a good showing because that's better than usually for an Alcoa first-round game. The other side pretty much
there's probably not very many stands over there.
The band
and
a couple parents.
That was probably band parents and players' parents and cheerleaders' parents.
That's more than they usually
Take all of those
get.
out, and how many's in the stand?
Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't even think Westridge brought their band last night.
They may have had commitments.
Yeah.
Or
maybe they were just sharp. Maybe they were just smart.
Basketball season. They're practicing basketball stuff.
I know we got to take the mid-hour break here pretty quickly, but so let's run down. So how this is going to break out for next week. So Maryville's in Quad 1 and 6A with this new alignment. So Riverdale comes to Maryville. And the winner of that game will face the winner between Blackman and Dobbins-Bennett for the quarterfinals. So in 4A, Alcoa is down in Quad 2 because they were the runner-up after that loss. They're going to Upperman up in Baxter, so they're going the other side of Cookville and north about 30 minutes. The winner of that game plays the Gibbs-Red Bank winner, which you could say whoever wins the Alcoa Upperman's game definitely has a better chance of getting through. But on the other side of that bracket where everybody thought Alcoa would be, you've got Stone Memorial going to Anderson County, and then you've got White County going to Greenville. So you could see a Greenville-Anderson County game in that quarterfinals, so it would be a game of the week if that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So for 2A, you'll love this. Eagleton gets to host their second playoff game ever. They've got Grundy County driving across the state to get here. And the winner of that game will play the winner between Bledsoe County and Happy Valley, which is not as bad, but is still a little bit.
The only thing I'm hearing is that if you have to like commute somewhere Friday late afternoon, avoid the interstate. Buses are going to be all over that thing. Traffic's going to be unbearable Friday.
What you're going to have is you're going to have convoys passing each other with two school buses, a band bus, a trailer, and a line of cars going this way on 40, passing another one going that way on 40.
Kids hanging out the window. Good luck to you.
Painting the buses.
If I'm coaching, would I not be making some motel reservations on some of these trips and going down a day early? I mean, if I've got a good chance to win the state, a 4-hour trip's not a good thing for my football team to get off the bus and eat somewhere on the way.
Do you know how expensive it is to house a 60-player
I don't
team
care. We live in
a hotel?
We live in an age where money's no object anymore. We're filling stadiums.
Money's no object when it's not your money being spent.
I guess, but
it's easy to play with
and
other people's money.
what you'll see.
But what kind of chance you got getting off the bus after a 4.5-hour trip and playing a football game?
But what you're going to see, and you just wait. If this formula continues, it will happen. You will see the Middle Tennessee teams that have to come play over here will either come a day early or stay a day late, depending on how they do it. But they'll clear out the school so they can leave first thing Friday morning, and they will stay over and do what Goodpasture used to do when they did the Alcoa games. They'll come over here. No matter what happens, we're going to Dollywood on Saturday. I'll almost guarantee that's what we're going to get to.
It's either a celebration of a win or it's a last hoorah for your team.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And
We've got
everybody's happy. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Hey, I don't know what's in Johnson City. Maybe they can
Pals.
Maybe Blackman.
Pals.
Maybe Blackman can take in some
place.
ETSU football on Saturday or something while they're up there.
Yeah. And you know, some of these.
And if Tennessee Tech's playing, they can maybe see the best
I don't know
team.
what that schedule. I don't know what that schedule. I don't know what that schedule looks like around Nashville or Memphis. But I know at rush hour, I talked to you about this, Mark. Around Nashville, it's almost. I don't know whether you're going to get to the game or not. I mean, it's.
Nashville's behind the times because they got traffic. I mean, think about Pigeon Forge. So their lights are up. They lit the Christmas lights last night.
I understand.
They're ready. They're ready for stuff like this.
That's a topic that I don't even want to broach.
There was a guy dressed like Santa in the street outside when I walked in.
Yeah.
Mike, can I make one clarification? You said money's not an object for programs these days. At my program, money's an object. So we ain't got it thrown around like that.
You said it here first that y'all are playing tournaments across the state this year.
We're going to try.
So
maybe one day.
Maybe in the last 10 minutes we'll give Troy a chance to shout out their GoFundMe page number.
Yeah.
And
I'm just saying that.
I'm just saying that
if you've got you're in a community and you've got businesses in that community and they've backed that program all year long and they find out they got to go on a 4.5 hour trip where they may be losing an hour, coming to another school to play.
It's thousands of dollars, Mike.
I'm just saying that there are boosters and businesses and so forth that where there's a will, there's a way. I'm not saying that the school system or the school itself or the program itself has to come up with the money, but there may be some willing people in some of these major high school programs that would come up to where you could stay all night. And let's look at Alcoa and Maryville. If they had to travel 4 or 5 hours to play another game.
Alcoa is.
I think
they're going 3.
Well, I think that there's a possibility if it meant a game that would put you in the state championship or a step closer to that state championship, and it's a huge game with a major opponent. I'm saying that they'd look at it.
Well, see, the problem with Maryville
you're going to see the difference in that. I don't know what Alcoa's arrangements are, but if I had to guess, Rocky Top or Premier's got a charter from Alcoa, so they'll be riding in at least a comfortable coach, whereas some of these schools, they're going to be coming in school buses.
In the yellow bus.
They're going to be in the yellow bus, the most uncomfortable thing in the world to ride in. And
that's what I was going to say. Schools with
we ride the yellow bus, Mike.
Well, listen,
schools with resources are going to get a comfortable bus.
I played pro basketball in Mexico, and our closest, now I'm telling you the truth, our closest road trip. Our closest road trip out of Mexico City was 48 hours on a school bus, and these school buses that we rode on. Now we're talking through the desert with you hardly ever saw a car on this old school bus, and I'll never forget time and time again
like the Model T,
that
right?
bus would break down in the desert. that old school bus, and the players would get off the bus, and they would get the tools out and work on the bus out there in the middle of the desert. So I'm fully aware of what it's like to be, on a 48-hour trip, going through the desert straight 2 nights in a row on a school bus opposed to.
But
Well,
you were professionals. These are children.
Yeah.
I hope that
Yeah.
I hope Halls has an engineering class. Hopefully, a couple of those mechanics are on this bus, because when they get off that interstate exit going to Lawrence County, anything can happen. I don't know where Lawrence County is. I'd never heard of it until last
Our
night.
coach down there in Mexico, when that bus broke down the desert, he blew his whistle, and all the players got off of the bus and worked on it.
Mike, that's not
How reassuring is that out there in the middle of the desert with rattlesnakes and everything else?
But Mike,
going
different
on there?
scenario. You played basketball back before Henry Ford perfected the car, so
Yeah, well, not quite that long.
No,
The
right,
Wright
but-
brothers hadn't taken flight yet.
Mike, let's go ahead and take that 1 hour
Take the
break,
break.
and we'll just remind everybody that they can tune in and watch us on Facebook and YouTube if you really want to appreciate the entire depth of what the video live stream shows of us, or you can go ahead and tune in on the radio here.
It becomes a lot more appealing with Troy on the set.
Yeah,
It does.
I don't
We
know.
have a
Yeah.
glamour factor we don't usually have
Yeah,
here.
we got
don't
the
know about all
legend.
that.
We got the legend here this morning. Hey, time to turn the page. Up next is the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment. You're listening to the GoTeez SportsPage, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensonTire.net.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew, and it's time for the GoTeez SportsPage Player of the Week segment, sponsored by Anderson Lumber Company, where quality service is always a priority, proudly serving Blount County for over 100 years. And guys, have we got the high school situation all figured out here going forward?
We have, except for the one item that Caleb and I don't know if we were chuckling. We were chuckling. It's kind of sad, but if you did not pick up on the Memphis news, and Memphis Business School did lose last night in the first round. I think it was 21-12. They were without their head coach last night because he was indicted on Wednesday or Thursday as part of a drug sting operation that was running cocaine between Memphis and Mississippi. He was not involved in the smuggling, but the FBI arrested 6 police officers and 4 school officials for being involved in taking bribes from the drug runners. I don't think we got details as to what they were doing that they needed to bribe the football coach, but Memphis Business played without a head coach last night.
yeah.
So
Among possible theories, we've got maybe they're putting the cocaine on the bus. You know, with the TSSAA sending these teams 3 hours away, you can traffic a lot of drugs across the state with that.
sometimes.
Maybe, I mean, I don't know what
Sometimes, Caleb, you're completely out of control.
and you know, football
I get worried about it.
football teams have a lot of equipment areas, and there's room for
Bags.
storage. I mean, I don't know how much space 55 pounds of marijuana or cocaine takes, but I'm assuming it's
Yeah.
quite a bit. But
Yeah.
anyway,
He was among 20 people arrested, including 14 Mississippi law enforcement officials.
Sometimes the world just doesn't seem like a real place.
It really does.
And
Pottersville.
again,
just
this
doesn't-
started from
Pottersville.
this started from one arrest, and the guy did like a TV series and basically came in the room and said, Well, you need to listen to all the tapes if all we're bribing.
Yeah.
Give me the reduced sentence, and I'll tell you where to put the tabs.
Yeah. Hey, before we leave the high school area here, we've got those. We've got the 4 teams. We got Eagleton in, we got Alcoa in, we got Maryville in. Looking at what you're looking at right there, and it being different than in previous years, how much tougher is it going to be this year, or is it going to be as tough for them going forward opposed to previous years?
Well, you're not going to see those same matchups, and if you are a Maryville who has one particular nemesis out there in Murfreesboro, it's no longer not necessarily going to be a semifinal matchup. That's not a guarantee. It could be a quarterfinal matchup. Mm-hmm. Or if you're in a situation where Alcoa is, where you want that rematch against the team that beat you in the regular season, that's not going to happen to the semifinals. So it's a little bit different structure where you could see a lot better quarterfinal matchups than you might have seen before. But at the same time, it's a little bit helter-skelter with everything else that's getting involved with the second round and quarterfinals.
Yeah. I think if you really want to break it down, I think from wanting to see good football, it's interesting to see Alcoa go to Upperman. That's a matchup we don't see. But it also sucks that you're robbed of Alcoa Greenville because there's no way either you won't get an Alcoa Anderson County rematch or you won't get an Alcoa Greenville matchup because Anderson County and Greenville will play each other. Mm-hmm. And that's because Alcoa lost. So you get robbed of a game we usually would see in the postseason.
And see, that's the comparison is when they were both in 3A, Alcoa and Upperman played twice, but both times it was in the semifinals. This year, it's going to be a second-round matchup under this formula.
The way this is set up in the formula, it makes it a little tougher on coaches because they haven't seen these teams, so they're going to have to get film, and it's going to be a little bit different in their preparation than it would be in the past where they're playing teams that are a little bit closer to where they've either played them or they've been able to scout them.
And thankfully, we're in a digital age now where it's a matter of huddle access. And not the days where coaches had to drive half the distance and meet in the middle on Saturday morning to exchange videotapes.
A VHS tape.
I didn't realize how cordial the exchanging of film is. They just one person sends a link to Huddle and the other person sends a link and that's it. And you're good.
It used to be you could tell how well coaches got along because where they met to exchange film said a lot about how they felt about each other or who they sent to do it. And who got tasked with driving 30 minutes to go get film on Saturday morning? Like if they met at Hardee's early, they usually got along. But if they were meeting at that interstate exit gas station, and it was the assistant coaches, they weren't really friendly.
Yeah,
I don't have a camera in my gym, so nobody gets any film from me.
Yeah.
Troy, word of mouth.
Troy is coaching middle school girls, right?
Yep.
At Vine.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your experience there, breaking into the coaching ranks, so to speak.
Yeah, my first year as a head coach. Really appreciative to my admin and my athletic director for giving me the opportunity. Obviously, it's something that I had a little bit of experience with William Blunt a couple years ago. So really excited for the opportunity. I have a great group of girls who, if we're being honest, haven't necessarily been coached basketball in a proper way probably their entire lives. So building this thing from the ground up, really proud of them, though. They've bought in, and the improvement we made from game 1 to game 2 is something that I'm really holding my head high on, telling them to keep their head high on. But I'm having a blast. I'm really enjoying it, and really looking forward to building this program over the coming years.
Are you the Tom Landry type, the cool, calm, and collected, or are you more on the Bobby Knight side?
I'm probably not as angry as Bobby Knight, but I got a lot of energy on the sideline. I do a lot of pacing and a lot of clapping and a lot of running.
Are you hitting the court and starting to defend with them?
I did slap the court once on Thursday. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you're more on the Duke line right now.
Yeah, that's probably about fair. Yeah. Yeah. I like my kids to know that I care. So I show it.
Yeah.
Did they give you a shepherd's crook with this job? If you're going to go out herding cats?
No, they didn't. Probably need one, but no. again, I'm just really thankful for the opportunity and really, really
Are
glad
there
to
any
do it.
rules on practice times? Are you regulated by how long you can have a practice like the colleges are? Or?
No, not really. We practice an hour and a half every day after school, and games
Now-
Mondays and Thursdays.
Troy, I have your fundraiser for you.
Let me know, please.
Okay, so what you
Need
need
as
is
much money as
custom
possible.
Christmas cards the girls can sell with you as the shepherd and all of them as little angels singing on high.
Yeah. Give our fans some indication of what your buyout is. Over there.
Yeah. Are you 10 years guaranteed?
I tried to work that out in my deal because I do think it's the best job you can have in the world is just to be a bad coach. But didn't work out that way. So I
Yeah.
guess I have to settle for trying to my best.
Could you
good.
sneak in like a 3 vacations a year like some of the coaches get?
I've-
Or
you know-
maybe a nice car.
I'm actually going to Las Vegas next week
He's
for
a-
a buddy of mine's bachelor party. So
Already
I
starting.
guess pay attention to make sure that I don't get in prison or something next
Yeah.
weekend. But so they were pretty good about that. I did have to switch my flight on Thursday because when I booked it originally, I forgot that we had a game next Thursday.
Yeah.
So
Do you play anybody over here in Blount County? Close
no, we
by
do
or-
not.
okay.
No, we do not.
Okay.
Now, one last thing, Mike, if I can. You have a couple. Your middle school feeds to some very historic high schools,
Yeah.
basketball-wise.
Austin East Fulton, yeah.
How much will you get involved with those coaches to turn what you have, which all our Blount County coaches are really focused on now, Mike, too, is making feeder programs because
Yeah.
everybody transfers. How much will you try to make what you're building a feeder to some of those high schools?
Yeah, it's definitely a goal of mine. I'm thankful enough that not only do I teach at Vine, I coach at Vine, I also live 3 miles away from Vine. So when I talk about community, it's my community. Just like this place was my community for a really long time. I have a great deal of love for the Blount County area. But that's my community, and so I do want to have good relationships with our elementary schools and our high schools. I do have a pretty good relationship with Austin East. And so I want to build that and kind of allow us to be as successful, not as just at Vine, but be successful at Austin East and kind of do this the right way. I take a lot of that inspiration from what I've seen here because obviously I have a tremendous respect for the way things get done here in Blount County. Obviously with Maryville and Alcoa kind of being the pinnacle of what that looks like year in and year out. And that's something that I would love to be a part of building on the east side of Knoxville.
Yeah.
So, do we see coaching clinics in your off-season future? Do we see that thing where you've got like you've got the Rick Howard camp, the Troy Provost Heron camp that that kids will come into and?
Maybe one day. Right now, I'm just trying to get win number 1 under my belt,
Yeah.
and so when that happens, we can start looking at some future things. Right now, I'm just trying to pick up a win.
Marcus and Caleb, it's getting close to basketball time in this area. The Jamboree. Do you know the date of the Jamboree?
I do not have the date yet, and
It's supposed to be this week, but we've been left undelivered by the host. So we'll have a schedule hopefully. So.
Okay.
it's been an unusual postseason in many ways, including with some of the hosting rights for the first time. So things have been a bit busy and hectic, and we're expecting to get that final schedule early this week and get that in the paper. I'm sure Caleb will have it on the front
Very
of
good.
the sports section
I
in a
knew
day
it-
or two.
I knew it was getting close. Hey, let's talk about some of these major college football coaches, Power 4 coaches that have lost their jobs. Troy Freeze lost his job down at Auburn last week. $15.8 million buyout for him.
That's what I'm saying.
And compared to some of these other
It's the best
buyouts,
job, man.
that's not really. When you compare that to Brian Kelly at $54 million, that looks like a bargain at 15.8.
I'll take
on
15
him.
though.
15, but
Wouldn't complain
that's
about 15.
I'll
you
take
know,
the
that's the-
.8.
Fair.
that's the eighth Power 4 coach to be fired, and Auburn will be looking for their 4th football coach in the last, 7 years.
Yeah.
And they're paying combined buyout fees of $50.5 million. All those coaches. Freeze was 15 and 19 at Auburn. With all those jobs, 8 jobs, and everybody's got the same. When somebody's fired, the athletic director, whoever comes on the powers that be, we're looking for a championship coach. We play for championships. We play for play. Everybody's looking for the same guy.
They don't.
Where are the guys, Troy? Tell me, where are the guys
What?
to fill these 8 jobs?
And so here's the thing that I think and it's in part fan, fueled. But like you said, there are only so many guys who can sit here and claim national championships and conference the big conference championships. Nothing against, the Conference USA coach that wins the CUSA championship, but there's only a handful of coaches who have won these Power 4 conference championships and these national championships, and you go out searching for them. And I think, like, Auburn's a great example. 10 years ago, Auburn had a really good program. Was it, a consistent national championship contender? No, but they, played in the playoff a couple times. They played for a national championship a couple times, and they were a very, very solid program. And sometimes you go searching for the next level, and instead of getting up the final step of the stairs, you trip and you fall down, and now your legs.
This is what it looks like when you fall and break your neck at the bottom of those stairs.
This is what it looks like.
And are in traction.
In years past, before the transfer portal, that's helped the situation with coaches somewhat now. But before that, the rule was, gosh, it's going to take 4 or 5 years to get back. Mm-hmm. But not so much now, Marcus, because of the transfer portal, and you got better opportunities to bring players in and so forth.
And when we say that the portal giveth and the portal taketh away, it has different levels to that, because when you are asking fans to go in and buy in to that level of commitment financially, and it's directly going to players, they have a personal stake. And because of that, they feel like they've got that right to go to the university and say, I'm not happy about this coach. Mm-hmm. So, and they look at it and say, oh, well, these guys have a 5 or 6 figure commitment, and now there's 4 or 5 of them saying the same thing. Coaches' seats can heat up much faster than they did 5 or 6 years ago.
I mean, look at James Franklin.
You can go from everybody's buddy very quickly to out the door.
Yeah.
Within the course of a season now. We never saw that before.
Back to my question with Troy, who's out there that's going to fit the bill to fill these jobs? And anybody can.
You're just going to turn the carousel. Some of these guys that just got fired are going to be filling some of these other positions.
I'm sure James Franklin will have a job.
James Franklin.
I don't know about Hugh Freeze.
I think last time I saw something yesterday, James Franklin's in talks with Virginia Tech or something like that. Yeah, but I mean, they don't exist.
If you're
the coach you're talking about is in Athens, Mike.
I know, and his buyout's $114 million.
It should be higher, probably.
$114 million. Kirby Smart. Hey,
everybody wants Lane Kiffin, but he hasn't done anything.
The thing about it is, if nobody here can think of too many people out there that can fill these are quality big time jobs that's open here. These aren't just run of the mill. I mean, these are the top jobs. If they can't find somebody out there to fit where they're going to have to go somewhere and rob somebody, which means they're going to have to buy out that school, which is going to cost them a lot of money. Let's say you take a Lane Kiffin. Let's say Florida takes Lane Kiffin. Well, Florida's going to have to come up with the money to pay off Ole Miss to get him out of that. Plus, they're going to really have to pay him out the yahoo to come to Florida with a big buyout. And so
you're wrong about Kiffin. Kiffin has proven just how good it is to be popular, because how many times has his deal been improved in the last 2 years? Mm-hmm. Yeah, three contract renegotiations.
That's another thing. Kirby Smart might get a raise just because there's other openings. He's not going anywhere. But you're just throwing money around.
The thing with Lane is
Nick Saban.
I don't know, and this sometimes you can go to a place where the expectations don't rise to an absurd place. And I think if I were Lane, I would really consider that, in the fact that you're right. He's an immensely popular person at Ole Miss. They lose a game or two every year. Nobody ever really thinks Ole Miss is going to win a national championship. And I think the fans there are okay with that. Be competitive, be in the conversation, and we're happy with that. And if I'm a coach, I don't know that I would ever want to leave that situation. It's not like they're in a bad situation, right? Like he is. They're a very good football team. They're going to probably be in the top 15 most years.
And you're right, because that fan base, they're somewhat realistic in comparison to some of the others. Because if he were to go to Penn State or Florida, there is no reasonable expectation within that fan base. You are expected to immediately be in contention for a playoff spot.
Yep.
So all that being said, are these schools looking for assistant coach? Are they going to be left with assistant coaches? Are they going to be left with maybe a pro coach, which
NFL
that's going to be hard
recycling is
because
on the horizon.
they can't give them the money that an NFL job can give them.
Most of these guys are pretty comparable to the NFL at this point.
Now, yeah.
And with NIL, you can't say there's that much of a difference between professional and college athletes.
I'm a big, and that doesn't happen as much. I do think we're going to see these guys kind of play the little hat shuffle here, where one goes from Auburn to Virginia Tech, and they do the shuffle around. But if I was an AD, I'd want to take the big swing. I mean, look what Indiana did. I mean, nobody had ever heard of Kurt Signetti, and I mean,
took him from James Madison.
Oh,
and,
God.
Troy
opened the door.
And he took most of his players up there from James Madison to win with.
And nobody had ever heard of him, and, I mean, respect to Kurt. I mean, they're a machine the last 2 years.
Right, and halfway through the year when all this busted up, his name was being mentioned all over the place, and Indiana was smart enough to say, hey, we're going to put a stop to this.
Give you $13 million a year.
Exactly.
Thank you, buddy.
We're going to give you the money, and we're going to put a stop because we don't want this affecting your football team up here. So they were really smart about it, not letting that play out to the rest of the year and all that talk go on. It's going to be disruptive. But we're not done. We're not done with this carousel. I mean, you got Mike Norvell at Florida State. You know, his buyout's, 54? He's comparable to Brian Kelly's buyout. You got Mark Stoops up in Kentucky at $38 million. Fickle, you know, he's on the edge of the cliff, but they assured everybody this week that he's coming back. I don't know what for, but he's coming back up there. But, you know, you've got other people that's, Shane Beamer, your favorite guy. He's kind of gone into to the tubes.
Yeah.
They had high hopes this year, and it's been a complete disaster.
I never had high hopes for them.
And
I can't coach and play out of a paper bag.
And maybe is it time for Dabo just to maybe take one of these jobs?
Well, you never know. They might, who knows? They could go and get a Tom Brady. You might need to clone another dog. You know, you don't know where they're going to go, but there's going to be some ADs who are going to get outside the box and put their jobs on the line with some untraditional hires.
I also do think it makes things interesting in this sense that I do think we're getting to a point now where there is so much coaching turnover, and it does seem like there's more coaching turnover than there ever has been, that I do think that there's a lot of coaches there that I think are good, not great coaches. And so those coaches are going to filter down to your low power fours and your G5s. And I do think that with that coupled with NIL and like teams being willing to invest, I think in a few years we will see some interesting parity and some interesting programs take some steps forward that I think will be good for college football in a way. I do think like when you look at that guaranteed G5 spot in the playoff spot, you've gotten some really good G5 teams, especially in the American, that are really competitive. That league's really fun this year when you look at North Texas and Navy. That like the good coaches go to those small programs and start to make them competitive. I think it's good for college football all around.
Okay, you got Fitzgerald, that coached at Northwestern for 17 years.
Yeah.
Had a good run up there at Northwestern. Ran into some problems, with some hazing situations. They got into the court.
Yep.
But he's been cleared of all of that now, and he's back out there. No, he's a proven winner that he can win. And then you got Ed Orgeron, old Ed. Remember Ed? He won a national championship down at LSU. Took over for Kiffin out of Southern Cal.
Mike, I could have won that national championship at LSU.
Okay. But he took over for Lane out of Southern Cal when they fired Lane Kiffin out there and did a pretty respectable job, the rest of the year, but they didn't retain him. But he's out there on the market. If you like those two guys, I like James Franklin because he's a proven builder. If you're looking for somebody to build your program up, maybe the new start with him will get him over the hump somewhere. I don't know, but out of all these other guys, I'm not too thrilled with hiring
Ed
any of them.
Orgeron would have stayed away from women, he would have at least one more national championship at LSU.
Lord, I'll tell you,
Caleb's off the rails
I'll
again.
tell you, he's off the rails today.
I thought,
can you not make it a little bit cleaner and say maybe if you lay off the gumbo soup?
Okay, so go back to
LSU is such an easy place to win. One of us could win a championship.
Go
there.
back
All
to
he
the
had to do was stay
go back
focused.
to the firing that got buried by James Franklin, where you had Dilfer get fired. Could Hugh Freeze take that job? Would he take that step down and be at that FCS level in Alabama?
Know.
Would he do that?
He's a weird guy. Hey, he said that Auburn was close, so maybe he could just be close at UAB. What if he goes coach high school?
If Dabo Sweeney is out there on the,
I
let's
don't
say
know,
he's
I
on
don't
the
know.
market.
You can't
what,
hire Dabo.
What about these jobs that would they be interested in Dabo? Dabo's not
think
he's not a portable guy. He's not a portal guy.
I think Dabo would be, in today's college football, interviewing him would feel like, why did we waste our time?
Yep.
He'd sit there and he'd go, we're going to build this the right way. We're going to recruit only freshmen.
And we're going to graduate
people. I don't need any.
We're going to graduate.
We're going to graduate people. I don't need any of your money. We're just going to do this the right way, and you're just going to stink.
You can't do it.
You're just going to stink.
So he's going to Duke.
Like, it's
he's going to Northwestern.
Yeah.
It's really hard to imagine
Stanford.
That guy did what he did for all those years, and then he just took it and threw it in the toilet.
Hey, he got a portal guy this year. He got a D2 transfer.
Great for him. Yeah, that guy makes me more mad than anybody in the country, I think.
Well, it's madness. I mean, the buyouts. I mean, we're approaching. I mean, we're going to probably
What's your buyout on the show?
We're going to probably hit the. I don't know.
One hot meal.
Have you talked to Brian about that?
Yeah.
We're guaranteed one
brought
Aubrey's gift card on the way out the door.
I think we brought it up because I told him I still thought I had a year of eligibility left because freshmen couldn't play when I played over there. You see,
You've been
so
saying
I only
this for
have
a while.
3 years. I only got 3 years.
That's true.
So I think if I could find a lawyer and an NIL sponsor, that I'd get my year of eligibility back. And Brian jumped all over that. He says, "You got us."
But I think
you got GoTeez.
I think you lost the year of eligibility when you went to go play for the Tijuana Lizards.
Yeah, pro.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, you can do it now. They're getting kids from the G League.
It was the Mexico City Chintalolas, to be exact about it. And I never could figure out what a Chintalola was.
Please
so
tell me you just made that up.
If somebody knows what that is, please inform me. Right into the sports page.
I think we just said a word we can't say on the radio in Spanish.
I think
that's the name of our team.
You just said you played the Tijuana Lizards was better than that.
Yeah, we went to Torreon. We went to Taxco. We went to Chihuahua. We went to Monterey. We went to all
what were they? What were they feeding y'all pregame?
What was the mascot? Like the picture?
We didn't have a mascot.
So you didn't have a picture on like your jersey? Like there was no logo?
It was we played one game in Lyon, and they had a history of throwing stuff down on the basketball
and it
court.
was a lot harder than oranges.
They had the court was the court.
It was
and
around
then
nets.
they had the stands,
Nets.
and they had a cage around the stands so that they couldn't throw anything down on the court.
Oh
it was
my
unbelievable.
gosh.
It was quite.
It's like a Roadhouse band.
And
you were playing steel cage match basketball?
Yes, we were like rats. You know, rats in a cage playing basketball. And next door, that was reassuring that the cage was there. And next door was a funeral home. You know, that wasn't reassuring any.
And Patrick Swayze worked the door.
Just in case they broke through the cage.
Right.
They could get you embalmed
exactly.
quickly.
Did they call you the Greenfield Gunner down there?
No.
Probably not good to be called Gunner.
You could have 3 Americans on your team, and we had some. I played with one of my teammates was Ken Spain. Ken played at Houston with Elvin Hayes, and he was on the 1968 Olympic team. He was a great guy, but he was all cowboy. He was just a cowboy, you know, boots and T-shirt, blue jeans, and he had played pro football. He played for Kansas City Chiefs, and he told the story. He says, "You know, Mike," he says, "I've had a rough life." He says, "I started out in basketball, and then they wanted me to play football, so I went out and played for Hank Stram with the Chiefs, and I played out there on some great teams, and then they traded me to Cincinnati." They traded me to Cincinnati. I got in a hotel and got settled, turned the TV on, and the sports came on, and they had traded me to Houston. Said I had to pack all my bags and get on a plane and go down to Houston. And he says, "It's been downhill ever since, and now I'm down here in Mexico with you playing on this basketball team down in Mexico." So anyway, we had some good times down there talking about the days where he played with Elvin Hayes and Guy Lewis was the coach there. It had all those great teams.
I swear that jersey would be worth money.
I'm telling you right now, I'm going on eBay as soon as this show ends and I'm buying a Chintalolos
I don't know whether that professional league is still.
I'm going to get it rush delivered to my house.
Yeah,
Edwards Chintalola jersey.
The Chintalola jersey. Yeah, you need to look that up.
What number were you?
I can't remember.
Call the boss. We need to do GoTeez needs to do a throwback jersey special.
Yep.
For Christmas this year.
Yeah.
I need one of those.
It was
I'd pay any price.
It was an extremely, I didn't know very much Spanish, so we had to go to restaurants down there that had pictures. So, you just point to the picture on what meal you want. And the only Spanish I knew was they would come to me and they would ask me what I wanted, and I'd go, I want a La Coca, I want a hamburguesa, and I want Las Papas Fritas. Hamburger, French fries, and a Coke. I lived on it down there. Lived on it. But anyway. Sorry you guys weren't down there and missed that trip. Are we ready to go to break?
Yeah, we are.
All right. Hey, time for a break. When we return, it's the Boyd Sports Spotlight. You're listening to the GoTeez SportsPage, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Boyd Sports Spotlight segment. And I'll be filling in for Donnie Moore and for this part of the program. And I want to remind our listeners that you're listening to the GoTeez SportsPage on WKCE 92.5 FM and 1180 AM on your radio dial, a station that plays the greatest music of all time. WKCE is my home station, and I hope you will make it yours. WKCE, where the music of the past lives today. And this segment is sponsored by Fassigns. There you go. You go. Hey, we got a lot going on. The L.A. Dodgers won the World Series this past week, and gosh, it's two in a row. And I'll start with you over there, Caleb. But did they win the World Series, or did they buy the World Series?
I'm not as big as – obviously they spend a lot of money. I think the MLB needs to add a salary floor before you add a salary cap to make some of these teams like the Oakland Athletics and the Anaheim Angels actually compete.
And it's the Las Vegas Athletics to you.
Oh, yeah, my bad. The Las Vegas Athletics. They don't even have a stadium. They're playing a minor league field. So I think you need to add a salary floor. But honestly, I just think the Dodgers are smart. They spend a lot of money, but they're smart with it. A lot of teams spend a lot of money and lose like the Yankees, but the Dodgers are smart with it and pick up strong players, especially from Japan. I think they have 3 or 4 players they took from the Japanese professional league that end up being, big contributors like Shohei Ohtani. So I would lean with they spend a lot of money, but most importantly, they spend it smart.
Yeah. Marcus, they earned it. Toronto had control there. They went home for the final 2 games, and you would think, well, they could come away with one of them, but that didn't happen. Dodgers swept them there in the last 2 games in Toronto. Yeah.
Well, I go back to that crucial stuck ball play. That was just ominous to me. It was like that was the moment that everything changed.
Yeah.
That freak play was what changed everything. And I think it set it up to be well, for the pure baseball side, for the fan, there was so much free baseball in this World Series that it was phenomenal from that perspective.
How did that
So I'm okay with the outcome either way because we got 7 games, truly almost 9 when you count all the extra innings.
It's the best World Series I've ever seen.
Yeah. That ball stuck out there. How did that compare, momentum changer and everything, with the Cubs and I think the Marlins playing that year where the guy reached over and tried to get the ball in play when Cubs kind of had that game in hand and that all turned it. How did that compare to that?
I think it's fairly similar. I think it's going to be one of those things that we will see on television for years whenever they talk about those plays. I don't know if it's going to go up there with a missed catch, but I mean, I think it's up there with it's going to be in postseason lore that the more especially for Toronto, the more they look back at it, the more this is what's going to be define that series for them.
Yeah. And Troy, you just mentioned that you thought it was one of the best World Series. That was my next question. How does this series compare to some of the other series that they've had?
Yeah, I mean, I've only been around 31 years, so I don't want to sit here and sound like the baseball historian who watched back when it started in the Civil War. But for me, baseball is my favorite sport. I probably watched 100-something games this year. And it's the best World Series I've ever seen. I thought it was two of the most evenly matched teams. Back to your original question to open this segment, like, it's hard for me to say the Dodgers bought the World Series when the Blue Jays were up 3-2 going back home.
Right.
Like, they had them dead to rights. I legitimately think the Blue Jays have kind of, helped usher in a change in baseball for the better. I think it's just a great World Series, and looking forward to next year.
It wasn't the greatest World Series that I've seen. Of course, I've seen a lot more World Series.
You've seen all of them, Mike?
Yeah, almost all of them. But I've seen a lot more World Series than anybody here. I think the greatest World Series that I ever saw was there in the early 60s where the Yankees and the Pirates played in the World Series. And, of course, the Yankees were spending a lot of money on players. And, of course, they had Maris and Mantle, and they had just drubbed Pittsburgh in 3 games. I mean, it was just – they had just blown them out. I'm talking like 15 – I mean, beating them by 10 runs. It wasn't even close. And the Pirates somehow, they won 3 games. They won, and it was 3-3. They went to the last game. It looked like the Yankees were going to win there in Pittsburgh. And then Bill Mazeroski comes up and hits the walk-off home run and beats the Yankees. And Mantle and Maris will go back to tell you it was the most disheartening World Series they ever lost while they played because they were better than Pittsburgh, and it was just the way it was lost. But I think that was probably the most exciting World Series I ever saw, to see him come around the bases after hitting that home run in Pittsburgh. It was just not the New York Yankees.
And I think the Blue Jays will probably feel similar. I do think the Blue Jays were the better baseball team, and they just didn't win, and that's going to sting for a little bit.
Yeah, but it was a good – didn't they come from last place the year before to
last
win
place
this?
in the division. Yeah.
That's a
really hard division.
That's a remarkable story in itself, the success they've had.
Because the Red Sox and Yankees are both good now.
Yeah. Hey, the NCAA College Playoff Committee says the eyeball test will be a big factor in choosing the 12 playoff teams.
I don't like that.
First-round games are going to start December the 19th. You don't only have to beat somebody, you got to beat them pretty convincingly, and you got to look good doing. Is that a fair assessment in picking the 12 teams or not, Troy?
No, because I don't trust people's eyeballs.
Well, I tell you what, I don't trust the computers, and I'm at least glad they're being honest about it because they've been doing it from the beginning. It's just now they're actually saying, we like the way you look.
Yeah, you mean to tell me the eyeball test wasn't used to keep Florida State out when, Jordan Travis broke his leg?
I wouldn't say it was eyeball test. I was just like, I think they're going to stink without Jordan Travis.
Yeah.
Well, you had to look at his leg to make the computer
fair.
Wasn't telling you his leg was pointed the wrong way.
That's fair.
Well, this is the playoff committee right now. This is the 12 or 11. I guess you'd have the one non-Power 4 school, the higher-ranked one, that would move in the 12th spot. But right now, the playoff committee's got Ohio State number 1, Indiana number 2, Texas A&M number 3. I don't think there's any argument there. All three of those teams are undefeated, and they've proven themselves during the year. Indiana beat Oregon. Well, we can go on. Texas A&M had some good wins. Then you got Alabama at 7-1. I don't think you have an argument there right now. Georgia 7-1. Oregon 7-1. Ole Miss 8-1. Brigham Young is. And then it starts to get a little hairy. Yeah. You got Brigham Young at 8-0. Texas Tech at 8-1. Notre Dame at 6-2, and at eyeball test they looked horrible last week against Boston College, and I swore they just didn't. They moved them up 2 spots, which obviously they didn't use the eyeball test.
I've thought about you a lot this year because of Notre Dame.
Yeah, they, And
I have some Notre Dame thoughts if you want me to share them.
Let's not.
Oklahoma is 11 at 7-2 with that win over Tennessee. Moved them up. Virginia is 8-1. So you got about 4 teams there that's really. They're on the edge. And then you got Texas at 7-2, Louisville 7-1, Vanderbilt 7-2, Georgia Tech at 8-1 out there. So, those you start at 8 to 11, 8, 9, 10, 11, about 4 spots right there. Looks like they're really up in the air right now. Y'all see that a little bit differently or
see
not?
it, but
how can the committee,
that goes to the point we talked about earlier. You look at Oklahoma's position where they are after they beat Tennessee. They are going to be clinging on by their fingernails for the rest of this month, trying to stay in the field. Not only do they have to worry about their game, but what everybody else is doing and how much do we have to win by and all of that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Their fan base is going to be in anarchy right through to the end now.
Yeah. Do you think there's any chance? You got BYU and Texas Tech playing today. You've got Oregon playing Iowa today. And Iowa's got a pretty good football. They're still in the Big Ten race, by the way. Alabama, they're playing. Do you see any possibility? And Georgia Tech's a team that could lose. Vanderbilt could lose. Louisville could lose.
What was
Texas
Vanderbilt ranked
Do
by?
you see
15.
any chance in this 8 through 11, when it all plays out, that somebody with 3 losses could get in there?
Yeah, I mean, I do, and I think it takes a special circumstance for sure. It takes the SEC beating up on itself a good bit. It takes one ACC team getting in. It takes one Big 12 team getting in. It takes the minimum Big 10 teams, so probably the 3 that everybody talks about. And then, yeah, I mean, if that's the case and you go 3 from the Big 10, 1 from the ACC, 1 from the Big 12, and 1 from the G5, I mean, a 3-loss SEC team has to get in because they all still play each other.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a possibility. But that's a lot of ifs and whats, and there's a lot of football left to be
Yeah,
played.
and today, if you look at this deal, I really think Indiana is going to be, they've got Wisconsin and Purdue after today. Now, they're at Penn State. They've never won at Penn State. Penn State's in a little disarray, but they still got some players. They've lost their quarterback, so this is going to be a challenge game for them. But if they get by Penn State today, they're going to beat Wisconsin at home, and they're going to beat Purdue. And they're going to be playing Ohio State in that championship game. I think they're going to be in the playoffs with one loss if they get it. I don't
Or
think
if they
they're
beat
problem.
Ohio State.
And I think
it's possible.
Texas A&M looks pretty good. But they're at number 19 Missouri today. They got a game there that they've got to play. Alabama and LSU. LSU's got some material. We'll see how that plays out. Oregon's at Iowa today. Iowa's got a good team. We'll see what happens there. And BYU and Texas Tech play each other.
It's a big
And
one.
in Virginia plays Wake Forest. Wake Forest is a decent team. So, there can be some movement in that top 10 today and going forward. Yeah.
I think it just depends on the 3-loss topic. You have to have some good wins. So if a 3-loss team is beaten, 2 or 3 other teams in the playoff, then you put them in. But in the case of like Tennessee, it's hard to argue for Tennessee to be in the playoff with 3 losses if they only beat, you mentioned earlier, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and then Florida and Vanderbilt in this situation. Like, if your marquee win is Vanderbilt, that's not a very good win.
Yeah. Got one other noteworthy note here. 6 basketball players from 3 schools threw games or shared betting information, and the NCAA has revoked those players' eligibility. 3 players from University of New Orleans, 2 players from Mississippi Valley State, and 1 player from Arizona State. And the only thing I'm going to say about that, I hope that's not the beginning of things to come as far as betting and sports and players being involved. But anyway.
Mike, before we hit the break, Donnie has chimed in from afar. And for those of you who were tuning in to 92.5 and did not get the opening, it's available on YouTube and Facebook. We're apologizing for that technical difficulty. Not to quote the mayor of elective New York, but if you've been having problems hearing Caleb, I've turned up the volume on him. And Donnie says, per the web, Northern Kentucky has never defeated Kentucky.
Has not. Very good. Okay, well, it must have been another.
So Donnie is on the ball and
all
listening
right.
and working
All
from
right.
home,
Well,
sweating over a hot microphone with his leg in the
We're
air.
good to hear. I feel better about Tennessee and Northern Kentucky today.
That's good.
I've got some birthdays on this date real quick. Frank McGuire, American basketball coach. He coaches South Carolina. He's not related to Al McGuire, but he was highly successful, won 550 games, 30 college seasons. He passed away in 1994. Bobby Bowden, football coach at Florida State, won a national championship in 1993 and 1999, and he passed in 2021.
Played here.
Yeah.
First game was at Maryville College.
Yeah, also born on this date was Angel Cordero Jr., won the Kentucky Derby as a jockey 1974, 76, and 85, and he's still alive and kicking at 82. And deaths on this date, Gene Tunney, the American boxer, world heavyweight champion. He was a champion in 1926, 27, and 28, and he passed away at the age of 83. And Maston Gregory died on this date. in 1985. He won the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1961 and 1965, and he died at the age of 53. Today in sports, New York Yankees catcher Yogi Berra was given the first of his 3 MVP awards. 1961, Whitey Ford won the Cy Young Award. 1966, Baltimore Orioles outfielder Frank Robinson was selected as the American League MVP, first player to win MVP in both leagues. 1970, Tom Dempsey of New Orleans Saints kicked an NFL record 63-yard field goal with half a foot. If you remember Tom Dempsey.
Cheating.
And in 1990, Darryl Strawberry signed a 5-year contract with the LA Dodgers. And in 1992, Nigel Mansell won the Formula One World Championship. It's time for a break. When we return, we'll be back to close out today's show. You're listening to the GoTeez SportsPage, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.net.
And that.
Welcome back to the GoTeez SportsPage. I'm Mike Edwards, and I'm here along with Marcus Fitzsimmons, longtime sports writer, and Caleb Jarreau, Daily Times sports writer, and Troy Provost Heron, former GoTeez SportsPage regular and middle school coach at basketball coach at Vine Middle School. And Caleb, you mentioned that President Trump pardoned Darryl Strawberry, and I had that on my list right here. I went over it for some reason or another. Maybe because I don't think it's all that important, because he's pardoned just about everybody there is in there. So I don't know how much that's worth, but that was in the news yesterday, and the reason
he was in the same pardon as former Tennessee State House Speaker Glenn Casada.
Yeah. Okay.
And his assistant.
And
Got both of them free.
Okay. Okay. So anybody else is still in jail, there's hope for you, right?
Maybe that Memphis coach.
Yeah, Memphis.
I think he's got to be convicted before he can be pardoned.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Hey, let's talk about some SEC games today. Let's look at Georgia. Is at Mississippi State. The Dogs go in at a 9.5-point favorite. It's on ESPN at 12 noon. Big game, next game for Georgia after beating rival Florida. Caleb, we've talked about that, and that game was a lot closer than a lot of people thought. Florida had a chance, but they didn't get it. But they came out of that game. Now they're playing a Mississippi State team, which got their first SEC win, I think maybe the week at Arkansas last week.
Mm-hmm. And
they've played everybody pretty tough this year. You know, they went to the portal and got some players, and there's some wins there that maybe they should have gotten. But they're 5-4, and they're looking to go to a bowl game with another win, aren't they?
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one to watch, just because Mississippi State's such a weird place to play, and you bring up the fact that Georgia is coming off a big win, and I think that game kicks off at noon too, so it'll be tough to get up for. And I think Georgia should take care of business, but 9.5 feels like a little bit of a close line when you look at those teams.
Think about Kirby's motivation. I mean, there's been 3 SEC coaches fired after they beat Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting fired after losing to Mississippi State.
Well,
I mean, there would have been another one gone after last week, except they'd already fired the Arkansas coach, so that they couldn't fire the interim.
Hire him to fire him again.
yeah. Texas A&M, ranked number 3 in the country, is at number 19 Missouri. That game's at 3:30 on ABC. Huge game here. Both teams ranked. Both teams really still in the playoff hunt. Missouri at 19. Troy, you got to say that they're still in. They're 6-2 and 2-2. They just got the 2 losses.
Yeah.
This would be huge for them.
Yeah, you get a win tonight if you're Missouri at home, and I think it puts you right on the doorstep there, probably in the 14-13.
Yeah, and Texas A&M,
range.
they've played some close games, and they're only favored by a touchdown, 7 points. So, we'll see there. Auburn is at Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt is a 6-point favorite. 6-point favorite.
And how weird
home,
is
number
that?
15.
You guys would be proud of me. I've really taken a step back from the gambling thing a little bit. If I was still extremely active, there would be a sizable amount of money on Vanderbilt -6 tonight.
Yeah, they're playing at 4. They're playing at 4 on the SEC network, and of course Auburn in disarray because Hugh Freeze has been let go there, and gosh, Vanderbilt's got they got a lot of momentum. They got Auburn and Kentucky. They're 2 winnable games at home. And they got a chance. They're in the hunt for a playoff spot. I don't think there's a lot of people over there right now that are ready to concede that Vanderbilt is a playoff team, but they control their own destiny. They don't have to look over somebody's shoulder for some help.
And if we're watching the eye test, they better play good.
Yeah.
God forbid they don't.
But what has been the best thing for several of these teams that have fired was that first game after the firing, the interim coach. I mean, we saw it with Arkansas. We saw it with Florida. I mean, their best game of the season arguably came the game after. So who knows? Maybe there's some magic in there for Auburn.
And I think that happens because of the portal, right? Like if you're getting a new coach after the season, you're auditioning for either that new head coach or another school.
I think you're absolutely right.
So, I mean, I think kids know that.
Kids that may not have been motivated the first 8 games
are motivated
now motivated because they've got intentions for a month down the road.
Yep.
Yeah. LSU, another team with an interim coach, is at number 4 Alabama. That game's on ABC at 7:30. Night game down there in Tuscaloosa, and I don't know what kind of changes that have been made at LSU, and I don't know. I'm sure the coaching staff at Alabama don't really know what to expect out of LSU coming in there because of what changes an interim coach might make. So we'll be looking and see what happens down there in Tuscaloosa tonight. But I look for Alabama to go 8-1 tonight down there against the Tigers and 6-0 in the SEC. But we'll see. Florida is just a 3.5-point favorite up at Kentucky, and there's a Kentucky team that, they've struggled to put offense on the field this year.
But it's
That'll
Florida.
be an ugly football game.
and
But
Florida.
it's Florida, and Florida and Kentucky is just as weird.
It's been wacky the last half decade.
My gosh, when was the last time the Kentucky won a home
football game?
SEC game?
It's been over at least 365 days.
Yeah, it's
I want to say 390.
I don't know.
Approaching 400 now.
And it's that time.
Is it the longest streak now that Mississippi State's won?
Yeah, I would think
you
so.
know what? You know what?
Nobody else is that
guys,
bad.
I wish Donnie Moore was here. I'm thinking that maybe the last win at home they got might have been Florida.
That
It might have
probably
been. It might have been
sounds
Florida.
right.
It might have
2
been
years
Florida.
ago, yeah, that would sound.
It might have been Florida.
And that's tough because over the years I've come in here and said, just really disparaging things about the city of Lexington, and I'll continue to do it around this time of the year. That place is unbearable. If you're not winning games at home, I don't know if I'm a Kentucky fan that I even bother going outside to go watch that game. I mean,
it's raining.
That place just sucks.
It's cold. You're not going to see the sun.
I've never seen the sun at Lexington.
Yeah.
Kind of like Indiana.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the kryptonite for Gators.
Yeah. And the Citadel's at Ole Miss. That's on SEC Plus. SEC.
That must be their homecoming
You
game.
brought up the Citadel?
Citadel. Well, I don't know. Nick Saban brought that up on television yesterday that they played the Citadel the year they won the national championship.
And gave him a scare in the first half. I remember that.
Yeah, he said he was behind at the half.
Yep. I remember that. Gave him a
Behind
scare.
at the half because they just won a big game the week before and everybody felt good about themselves.
I remember
and
that one.
Citadel come in there and led them at the half.
Mike, you left off the best team in Tennessee this week. Tennessee Tech is traveling to Eastern Illinois.
Eastern Illinois today.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a
Big
tough
test
one. That's a
there.
tough road trip.
Hey, let's look at this SEC standings right now. Texas A&M, Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, and Texas. If you're looking at the 5 teams, everybody here, does anybody think that the SEC would get in more teams to the playoffs than 5? I don't think so.
There's a path to 6 that I laid out
Maybe.
earlier, but
You have to factor in the group of 5, so that would leave only 6 spots for every other conference.
Okay, I'm looking at this schedule right now. Texas A&M, which we all think got a pretty good shoe in. They've got Missouri, South Carolina, and Texas.
Tough ones.
2 of the 3 are on the road. Missouri and Texas is on the road. They got some work to do. Alabama's got LSU today. They got number 11 Oklahoma at home, and they got Auburn away. I like Alabama in the playoffs based on that right there.
I would take that too.
Yeah. Ole Miss has got Florida at home and Mississippi State. I'm liking them too.
I like them to get in.
I like them
that.
too. Georgia, they have Mississippi State away, Texas at home, Georgia Tech away.
That's tough. Those are 2
Georgia
tough games
Tech
at
might
the
be their
end.
toughest game.
Yeah, they've got
And
2
Tech
out of 3, two out of 3 ranked
And
teams.
Tech and Georgia played in that instant classic last
Yeah.
year. Like,
And Tech wants
yeah.
some revenge.
Texas has number 5 Georgia away, Arkansas at home, Texas A&M at home. Texas has got 2 losses right now. I think they're
I
they're
think that
bubble.
A&M Texas
bubble.
game will be
It's huge.
elimination.
Yeah, they're bubble.
But
Oklahoma,
Georgia, Texas has the same thing.
if you want to look,
Exactly, yeah.
if you want to look at Oklahoma, they've got 2 losses. They got Alabama away, Missouri at home, LSU at home. They got 2 out of 3 at home. but
Oklahoma's losing those first 2
I
games.
think so. Vanderbilt, we've already talked about them. Auburn and Kentucky at home, and in Tennessee away. It boils down to the Tennessee game if it plays out. Missouri, they've got Texas A&M at home today, Mississippi State at home, Oklahoma and Arkansas on the road. They got 4 SEC games left. So
The league is a war zone, man. Like
yeah,
it just,
I'm telling you.
And-
I'm telling you, there could be
Any one of those 5, you could see 2. I mean, any of those 5 could be the SEC championship game.
Yep.
You may be.
so you could potentially add another loss.
You may
Yeah.
be hard pressed to find 5 SEC teams or more with less losses than
Marcus
2.
brings up a good point.
2. I
They're
mean,
gonna-
you would almost, if you're looking at 5 or 6 going into the playoffs from the SEC, you're going to be looking at a team with 3 losses.
If you sit here and say that there at least every team has at least 1 loss, or in the SEC, I think you're going to want to avoid that SEC championship game just to
yeah.
not put yourself in a position where you're sitting at 2 losses and now you're part of the conversation.
Yeah, if you get blown out in
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
game,
you fail
then
the
you're in
eye
trouble.
test.
Yeah, I want to avoid that game at all costs.
Yeah.
If
Lane
you're,
Kiffin last year said
if-
he didn't want to be in it.
if you're Texas A&M and you win out and so you're undefeated, then you don't really care. You know that win or lose, you're in. But if they were to drop one here before the SEC championship game, I think you don't want any part of that game.
Well, the bigger worry is what if you go out there and, God forbid, one of your best players gets hurt?
Jordan Travis style,
Yeah, and then if Texas A&M loses Marcel Reed for whatever reason, what keeps the committee from just doing the Florida State to him and not putting him in?
I think the conference championship games are going to die.
The
eventually.
internal carnage that happens, especially with the Texas schedule
Yeah.
and with Georgia's schedule, and what that you do with the SEC championship game, I could see SEC dropping to 4 because the Big Ten is not going to have that carnage.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause they don't play
And
each other.
you're still going to have Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, and likely Indiana and,
And Ohio State are going to
State
be undefeated when they play each
are
other.
going
so
to,
they're-
or one of them's going to come out undefeated.
Yeah.
So I think you could more likely to see the Big Ten sneak in a 5th
In
team
the-
than the SEC.
Well,
Yeah,
also
but
in
the
the
SEC
ACC gets interesting because it's a 16-team conference. So
Yeah, but-
SMU is kind of in the conversation. They might not play anybody. Virginia, you mentioned in their rankings. Who are they going to play?
But Virginia and Georgia Tech both over there on borrowed time. And, anybody can beat them.
Virginia,
I mean, I could see nobody from the ACC with more
Virginia
than
Tech's been
with
begging
two, with
for a
2
loss
losses
for
or less.
weeks.
I could see nobody in the ACC with 2 losses or less. And the ACC or the SEC, if you have somebody with 3 losses, based on their schedule, I think they could justify putting somebody in there from the SEC
over
with 3
a
losses.
2-loss ACC team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was a 3-loss SEC team and that was the case,
Yeah.
I'd be upset.
There'd
Yeah.
be a riot.
Yeah. Marcus, great day. Great to see you again, Troy. Come back and see
I'm
us.
going to make sure I
Coach
come back
Provo-
around
come
more.
back and
Coach Provo Heron.
yeah. And Marcus, we ready to go?
I believe we are.
All right, let's see if you blow that whistle as good as Donnie. Hey, that'll do it for today's edition of the GoTeez Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishmael back at Loud Media, our host, the Bluetick Tavern, and all our sponsors. Until next Saturday, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, wishing everyone good sports.
It's the final whistle. Join us again next Saturday for the GoTeez Sports Page. The best in local sports since